This is the Masonic Light Podcast featuring Pete Ruggieri and Larry Maris. A non-stuffy, somewhat humorous approach to understanding our craft. We guarantee you'll have a good time or your money back. This podcast is not endorsed or approved by the Grand Lodge or any jurisdiction. In fact, they'll probably hate it. And now, here's our host, Pete Ruggieri and Larry Maris.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Masonic Light Podcast. I wish maybe we'll save the past 20 seconds of audio for you. Maybe we can play it sometime, but Larry is a damn mess, and he's back. So welcome back, Larry.
Hey, it's good to be back, Pete.
And Jason's here as usual.
Hello, good morning.
And our special guest, Jack Harley, past Methuselah of what?
We call it Worshipful Has Been in Ephrata Lodge number 665.
It's the neighbor of the beast?
That's it.
I gotcha.
Right next door.
So, Larry, you get everything figured out over there?
Nah.
So, Larry, what's been going on? So, you were away.
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was.
And you got injured.
Yeah, actually, it's a long story. We don't really want to go into it, do we?
Well, I don't want to go into a long story.
Okay. Yeah, it's anyway, we did my wife and I did a transatlantic cruise, 20 days practically, and ended up in a lot of great places. Weymouth, England was the best. And they still have a tendency in England to be able to put their logo in the, you know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wow, yeah, where's he going?
Yeah, anyway.
I'm just still watching you bang the table and not talking to the microphone.
Anyway, we went to the city of Bruges in Belgium on a tour and took a canal boat ride. And the canal boats there are little canal boats. And
they're not American sized?
No, they're not American sized. They're not like the big ones in France.
They're fun
One day
size.
we're going to have us a double wide.
Double wide. I think they can seat no more than about 20 people on the damn things. And anyway, getting into the boat was fine. Started raining hard, as a matter of fact. And when I went to get out of the boat, I misstepped and tore my leg up.
It's 21 stitches.
21 stitches, yes.
Now, it doesn't look that big. Was that because of the metric system? Is it only like...
It's about, I'd say, 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches in the shape of a V pointed downwards.
Well, if you get another scar, you got a whole square and compass going.
That's right. And went
Jason,
to
give me your knife.
They made me go to the emergency room. And
Did you get some free socialized medicine?
yes, I did. It was really unique. What was great about it was the doctor said to me, "We'll send you a bill. You may never get it, but we'll send you a bill." He says, "If you don't get it, don't worry about it." I mean, I like that kind of medicine.
Now, I got to say, I have a bone to pick about your injury because you posted a picture on Facebook of your foot in the little hospital booty.
But that's not what you hurt.
I know, but everybody here stateside thought that he hurt his foot. So for the 3 weeks that you were gone, we were like, what happened to Larry's foot? How's Larry's foot? And then the Goose and Gridiron, you came back practically skipping into the place. And
I think it was just to get out of doing an activity with Carol. That was...
By the way, as we were talking about earlier, I do have a tendency every time I go to Europe to get hurt.
Yeah, you got hurt in Gibraltar?
Gibraltar last year. Yeah, exactly. Came home with a leg infection. It took 3 months of special care through a wound care specialist to get that taken care of. 2 years before that, I was in Russia, was on a river cruise and kind of fell going in the doorway. Took all of the skin off my arm.
Boom.
Drop the mic.
So basically, yeah. And by the way, my wife is looking for a nice older gentleman to accompany her on her next trip.
Somebody less Doppler?
Yes.
I'm sorry, for non-Lancaster County, that means non-dumb and trippy. So did you anything Masonic over there? Any Mason buildings?
Only in England, at Weymouth, England. Yeah, they had a huge building there. Okay. Had the Masonic symbol on it. I'm not afraid to. As to France, no. As to Belgium, didn't see anything at all. And no.
Wow, that is the best noise ever, Larry. Thank you. Oh God, I miss Larry. So
I thought that was the cue that the segment was over.
I'd also like to point out how much shit you've been talking, how the show sucked without you.
Yes, it did.
So we're at breakfast this morning. Larry's trying to be professional and tell Jack everything he needs to do, including now make sure you talk into the microphone.
Make sure your phone's off. Don't tap on the counter.
And
Wait,
Larry has
what?
done everything except talking to the microphone. Oh. So, Jason, what have you done? Anything Masonic in the past couple days, weeks?
Yeah, I went to this is a mouthful, the Chester County, I have to read it, it's so long, the Chester County Scottish Rite Club of Reading Consistory John Gay Memorial Banquet. Whew. Right. So pretty much a Scottish Rite Club dinner. Guest speaker was Beasley Reese, NFL player.
Right.
And it was a riveting speech, and the fellowship and the meal was great, and it was a lot of fun. It was the same night as the table chapter that
Jack went to that.
Yeah.
So, Jack, you went to the table chapter.
I did. I went to the table chapter for the York Rite
6th
Royal Arch
Capitular
Chapter,
District.
3rd West we are. Under the awesomeness of George Heinsohn, District Deputy Grand High Priest.
How was he dressed?
He was dressed like a hood ornament, actually. He was wearing a beautiful, stylish white tuxedo with black trousers and a black bow tie. It was
Did he have his hair in his top knot? To complete the full hipster attire?
I think he was in the full comb back mode, if I recall. I don't know.
Okay.
But there's 4,000 pictures of him on Facebook, so you can just look it up.
He didn't wear his cape.
No cape.
I love it when he wears the cape.
But he did have the blue tights, so.
But the dinner was good, and
It was amazing. It was at the Marriott downtown in the house, whatever that
Montgomery House.
Montgomery House. Very classy joint. And in a room full of guys with tuxedos and dark suits, it really came off really well. It was nice.
so you opened. You had a quick meeting at the Masonic Center.
Right. We just, the open the meeting, pay the bills, close the meeting, and then go to dinner, which is exactly how Freemasonry should work. I think overall is perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Only thing I did, I guess, Masonically was I went to council the other night, which was, council.
Yep.
It's really boring. It was hot in the room. We heard a little talk on the history of our council, which was actually interesting. Mike Riggy did that, and I thought he did a good job.
Nice.
So the meeting started at 7:30, and at 8:20 we were out of there, which is the kind of meeting I like.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I think the air conditioning in the building was on the fritz, I believe.
Well, you're on the building committee. Get that fixed.
Yeah, tell him about the Blue Lodge meeting when the electricity went out.
Oh yeah, so I guess that was within since our last show. We had our Blue Lodge meeting 2 weeks ago, and we're supposed to have a dinner before the meeting. So as I'm driving to Lodge, I see a couple police officers in the city directing traffic. I'm like, oh, that's odd. Turns out we get like a whole sub something or other is gone. So a whole 25% of the city's without electricity, and
Including the center.
including the center. So we were trying to eat dinner in the dark, and then the lights magically came back on.
It's very romantic, though.
Yeah. One of the past masters there is a retired PP&L electricity guy, so he knew exactly what was wrong and called and told somebody. And they flipped the switch basically, and it came back on. But then the elevator wouldn't work, and our lodge room's on the 4th floor. Well, most of our members can't make it up 1 flight of stairs, let alone 4 flights of stairs. So we went into the auditorium. We did our meeting with no aprons, no tools. We did have the charter, because the charter we keep in the safe.
Well,
on the
then
first
it
floor.
counts. Then it counts.
And it was at the correct address. I think you have to have the charter, and it has to be at the address on your meeting. It didn't specify 4th floor versus.
Right.
So
Nice.
yeah, that was I think we were running around the room in the auditorium to find something. I think like our gavel was like a shoe or something, but it was
Like Khrushchev. That's
yes. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with our guest, Jack Harley, past has-been.
Dun, 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 dun.
Today, more than ever, the fate of nations is led by a cabal of individuals and corporations. From the price of gas and basic necessities continually escalating, people are feeling like puppets with a chosen few pulling the strings. In other words, follow the money. In a fascinating work of historical fiction, The Red Serpent chronicles how the rich and powerful have prevailed through the centuries of history. 5,000 years after Sumerians bury the greatest wealth of knowledge the world has ever known, traces of it surface in the 20th century, along with omens and executions. The Vatican is in a frenzy to possess it. A secret society will stop at nothing to control it, and innocent people are doomed by obscure connections with it. In a bizarre quirk of fate, an obsessed French policeman, an alluring philology professor, an ex-Mossad rabbi, and a powerful Jewish family join forces to solve a triad of ancient puzzles. They must battle their way through Europe, outwit assassins, and dodge overwhelming foes. But how do they convince governments to aid them in their quest? What if they run out of time? And can they pull off the phenomenon that will change civilization forever? The Red Serpent by Larry Maris is available at Amazon, Amazon Kindle, and Barnes & Noble, plus fine bookstores everywhere.
This is Jacob Young from Lamberton Lodge 476 in Lancaster, PA, and you are listening to the Masonic Light Podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and germs. So our illustrious co-host Larry has a breaking news special announcement.
It's not really a breaking news, but I want to give a special shout out. Thanks to brothers Jay Laser, George Wazoo, and Dan O. Williams for their well wishes during my recent dilemma in Belgium. Love the messages. Thanks so much, and thanks for thinking of me. They were the only three, by the way.
Well,
there's only 700 people in your lodge, Larry. So
that's only three more than I would have expected.
Right.
So that's pretty good. So we're back here with Jack Harley, and Jack is our a past master of Ephrata Lodge, which is on the border of Lancaster County and Berks County, and it's a weird little place.
The wilderness.
Yes, and so we try not to like do the whole resume reading thing, but can you give like just a quick synopsis of what your Masonicness is?
My Masonicness started in October of 2004. I'm a one-day wonder at the Reading one-day class. When I walked out the door, I said, "This is not what my father did. This is no way." So I figured the only way that I would feel that feeling would be if I went through the chairs. So I pretty much was thrown into a chair the first year and was master in 2009. And coming in that way, it's a little different experience, but we'll get into that in a bit. But beyond that, on the same day, I became a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason, and that was equally meaningful. Since then, I've joined Grotto, God help us all, and just most recently York Rite. So I'm going to go through the York Rite degrees one at a time. I have no interest in just jumping out and getting the hat and the sword.
Right. Now you need to, you got to enjoy them. They're good to be seen. So Larry, you have some questions that you'd like to ask Mr. Harley.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, one of the things, and I will say that you and I met earlier. We met in your great Praetorium, which, by the way, I loved. And we discussed some things over beer. And one of the things I asked you was about, Jack, what's your passion in Freemasonry? And we talked about it, and I'd like to know, I'll basically ask you now so the listener can hear what you say. What is your passion about our craft?
Well, like I said, when I joined on the one-day class, and this is really true for coming through the usual way, is, you're shown all these symbols, and there's really no explanation of them. We talk about making good men better and all that kind of stuff. And like, okay, a stated meeting, I can get a really well-organized meeting if I go to the PTA. So what's different about this? And we never really, in our lodge anyway, and most of the lodges, I think, in Lancaster County, we don't really bring them up. We don't talk about them. We don't understand where the lessons are and what those
Right. They
symbols
tell
mean.
you it's going to be explained to you later, and it never is.
Yeah, right. So it was all kind of hanging out there, and I dug in, and I tried to read, and I've read Ledbetter, and I've read Albert Pike. God, help me! I read Morals and Dogma from cover to cover.
Oh, that's so dry.
Yeah, trying to dig, and there's a lot of other really esoteric writers and stuff that write about, how angels fall from the sky and twist your knot into a bow or whatever. And that just wasn't ringing for me. So I did some digging on my own and I tried to understand what this thing was that nobody really understands when you.
Did you figure it out?
No. Actually, but I can talk about each one of the things individually with, alacrity, but putting them all together into what is Freemasonry. No, I don't think anybody can do that yet.
Wonderful.
So that's my thing.
That's your thing?
Yeah. So I teach, I do the mentoring class at Ephrata, and as the new Masons come in, we meet once a week, and we just kind of wander through the degree work and talk about, okay, well, what is that slipper thing? What is that about? And what about this? What is this cable tow thing? And those kinds of things that really need deeper explaining that we really don't ever get to.
Wow. What are they about? I just kidding.
Well, start coming to my mentoring class.
Right, there we go.
And you'll be in. Yeah, no. But there's, I know Larry and Jason are involved in mentoring in their lodges, and I think that's important because it's not easy to find that stuff. I know for 5 years I was trying to find out why Pennsylvania is different, and there really wasn't any explanation. I kept asking people that I thought could explain it, and nobody ever really could. So I
finally heard about it at the Lodge of Perfection meeting with brother so-and-so from the Scottish Rite in D.C., Spanish name. I forget
Arturo de Hoya.
Arturo, yeah. Yeah, he gave a great little talk on it, and I finally understood why Pennsylvania's screwy.
Yeah, because we're obstinate. Is really what it comes down to.
I was raised in South Carolina as a Master Mason. We do and it's a York Rite state, but we do things so much differently than Pennsylvania. You visit a lot of lodges in Maryland, North Carolina, so you get to see what they do in comparison to what we do in Pennsylvania, which is still unique.
Yeah, and hopefully always will be. I mean, there's, I guess, I saw Chris Hodap's blog this morning that there's talk about another move to make a Grand Lodge of America overarching everything, and God, I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's an interesting story, and it goes back to the ancients and moderns reuniting and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to get into that here, but too many people would disagree with me, so I'm going to let it go.
Right. Well, I think you over a Manhattan or three. I think you were explaining it to me one time when the ancients and the moderns were separate. Mm-hmm. Pennsylvania was going strong. So when they came together and decided they want to get together, we're like, no, we already had our ritual. We don't want to join yours.
Well, it was more than that. It was the modern Grand Lodge. The first Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania was basically at the end of the Revolutionary War, because they were all Whigs. It was closed. It was bankrupt, gone. All the money people left and went back to England or Canada. So the only Grand Lodge we had at that point were the ancients. So when it came time to merge the moderns to the ancients and the ancients to the moderns, Pennsylvania said, well, we don't have any moderns, so we're just going to keep doing what we do. And then at the Baltimore Convention, there was another move to do that. Pennsylvania abstained from going and the whole thing. So we're completely different. And there's a reason for that. But, again, going back to Masonic education, holy hell did I have to do a lot of work to find that out. It's just not out there anywhere. So that's the kind of stuff I want to make it a little easier for the guys that are interested in it, but still make them work for it.
Any other pet peeves you have about Freemasonry? You want to
pet peeves?
Pet peeves? Yeah,
the one you asked me about earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I really love it when the guys on the sidelines who don't know the work correct the people who are doing the work. I love that when that happens. That's my favorite.
And they never jump into a chair and help? Oh,
yeah, no. Well, or in the case of certain people, they're like on this, they've already been through the chairs and didn't learn the work, and they're still correcting people who they think don't have the work.
Well done.
Yeah, love that.
One of the things we talked about, Jack, too, was a misunderstanding or a real definition of the word charity. You know, the three, correct me if I'm wrong, lesser lights of Freemasonry: faith, hope, and charity.
Right.
We don't really comprehend what charity means in this day and age. And that is one of your strong points.
Well, yeah, we talked about that over adult beverages in the Grapetorium. And what charity has become, at least in my experience in the Freemasonry, and it's not that we're not charitable, right? The Scottish Rite and the Shrine hospitals and Tall Cedars and all of the appendant bodies have charities that they associate with. But it seems like when somebody's in need, the real easy answer is, well, call the charity committee. They'll send you a check. And there, more often than not, the check is not what needs to happen. The brotherhood needs to come together and support a guy who's in a position like that.
Yeah, one of our past masters wrecked his motorcycle the other day.
BJ, yeah.
Yeah, and BJ had some serious health issues, like a degenerative, I don't even know the name of it.
Multiple sclerosis, I believe.
I know, like, he's had some crazy surgeries and things, like to make his back stronger, almost like putting concrete in his spine to keep him from like hunching over. Anyway, so he wrecked his bike and he's in pretty rough shape in the hospital. And of course, everybody out there is saying, oh, if there's anything I can do. People say that, but they don't really mean it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. So what I said was, look, I know I can't really do anything for BJ, but like, it's the whole family. So like, if you're here taking care of him, we can have somebody come over and mow your lawn.
Right.
Or, that's the kind of stuff I think we need to do more of. Like,
yeah, well, we had an example in Ephrata, actually, Clay Township, 2 weeks ago. There was an Amish dairy farmer who had a just terrible fire. It was a spectacular fire. Lost a huge dairy barn and I think 2 outbuildings. And within 2 weeks, those buildings were built. I mean, his brothers in the faith came together and basically rebuilt his whole livelihood, right, for him. And they're programmed to do that. Now, I'm not saying that us Mason guys ought to go out and have a barn raising. Yeah, because I think, 80-year-old barn raising guys is probably not a good idea. But they came together and they didn't have to be asked, right? They're just there. They just show up. But before the fire's cold, before the ashes are stopped.
So how do they know? Because they don't have the internet. Is there?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another conversation. But yeah.
A spoiler alert. The Amish thing's a lie. They all have the internet. They all have phones.
They all have cell phones.
As a brother, I could help with a barn raising. As long as I had an ambulance there.
Yeah, but you'd write a check, right? Here, go buy some nails.
Yeah, here's my toolbox.
Here
it's a checkbook.
But no, I think we need to do that. I was talking to one of the guys in our line yesterday, and I said, have we put out invitations to the widows for the annual banquet?
You looking to meet women or something?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of guys, but one in particular, but we won't go there either. But he's like, wow. The widows at the banquet? That's a really good idea.
Yeah, we do that in Lamberton. We always invite the widows.
Yeah, well, we don't. When the Mason dies, the widow just, I don't know, she ascends into heaven or something, and we forget about her. So there's no record of inviting the widows to our banquets and stuff like that. So that's the other kind of pet peeve that I have.
One of the things in talking that you brought up, and it just keyed something in my mind. You belong to a lodge where you have a line of succession of officers, unlike a lot of lodges in our area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're very blessed.
You've been a past master, or actually the worshipful master, once.
Yeah.
And you haven't ever gone back retroactively or anything, because you've had
no one in our lodge has ever repeated as past
that is an amazing feat.
Yeah, we're 106 years old and we've never repeated a master.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't know how many I know there's some that are like have strings that long, but they started before we did. And maybe repeated before that, but for 106 years.
Our friend Chris Gibson down in Quarryville, is he what's he on? His like 20th year?
I think he's been master 5 times. Yeah. He finally drew the line, I think, on that one.
I don't know. That's a moving line.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's pretty fluid.
Receding line, like my hair.
Ooh. So you did some cool work at your lodge. You were instrumental in changing the decor. And you helped get the new flooring.
Wow, that's left field. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us how that went down. How do you get like the old guys to agree to change?
It was amazingly easy. Well, what it was we had our stuff in a pile, right? We did the research. We knew what we were going to do. We knew how much it was going to cost. We presented it to the lodge. We just kind of blew past them. We said, we're going to do this. All those in favor give their consent, and it happened. But originally, after I joined, a friend of mine also joined, and he came into the lodge room, and the hoodwink is removed, and he looked around, and he said afterwards, he's like, "Where is the awe and majesty in this?" I was looking for carved things and gargoyles and whatnot, and he's like, "It's a blue room with a blue rug and blue chairs and blue walls.
Blue indoor-outdoor carpeting."
So blue. It was so blue. And he got me thinking that you're right. There isn't any. So I took a look at what we had, and there was a committee of, 3 master masons who got together, and we designed it all. And the furniture in the lodge now is pretty cool. And like we're told in the first degree, there's nothing done in Freemasonry but has its true Masonic signification. Every architectural element in that room means something. We put in pews for the front row seats because I knew that after I got out of the East, I needed a bigger chair than what they had. So totally selfish move, pews in the front row so I can spread my lard ass across a couple of seats. But on the ends of the pews, there's a scroll, which is the same scroll that's on the Ionic column, right? Which is indicative of wisdom, which is why you use the Ionic columns in front of a library. So it's that kind of attention to the detail that goes throughout the room, and it's very cool.
So the most striking thing is the checkerboard floor you put in, which is irregular for Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I got permission though.
Okay.
I got permission from the fellow who was the chairman of the committee on temples and grounds or whatever he was. And I said, "Can I do this floor thing?" And he's like, "Well, I guess." I said, "That's all I need." I'm done.
Yeah, because in other jurisdictions, you always see the checkerboard floor, but that's not a Pennsylvania thingy.
Well, it's not a Blue Lodge in the United States thingy, for that matter. In Europe, though,
all of them
totally checkerboard floor.
Yeah. But it's loaded with its own symbols. The black and white, and everybody, black and white, good and evil. But even that's larger than that, right? If you just scrape off the surface and get down
gray,
to it.
You get gray.
You get all of the dualities of life. You get, you get Mayor Gray. If you scrape the surface long enough, you get Mayor Gray. But it represents all of the dualities of life. Rich and poor, sick and well, strong and weak. It's representative of all that. It's the yin and yang.
I do have one question for you, Jack, about that lodge room. What is the Masonic significance of your ungodly tall altar? I mean, it's practically a podium.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's great. In the second degree, you have to prove that you can dislocate your left elbow in order to receive the second degree. Other than I think they got it like in a discount bin or something like that. That's all I know. That's like 100 years old.
It's a monolith.
It's beautiful.
And you guys actually have a room where you could actually have fun. You have pool tables upstairs, and you have a cigar lounge.
You could have fun. Yes, you could. Yeah, we have 2 beautiful old 1908 Brunswick pool tables that we snarfed out of the Oddfellows Hall when they closed. So that's on the 3rd floor. A lot of people don't even know we have a 3rd floor, but the first floor of our building is the state liquor store. They've been our tenant since 1935.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So prohibition was repealed, and immediately we threw a liquor store in there. And, so they've been there ever since.
If you've ever been to Ephrata, you know you need to drink.
Yeah.
It's
You need to kill the pain. Absolutely.
Very good. So we're going to take I think we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with Jason's got a brand new segment. We're going to debut.
Shocking.
We'll be back.
The Masonic Light Podcast is sponsored by MasonicScarves.com, home of unique Masonic-themed soccer scarves. Our scarves aren't printed. All of the artwork is knitted into the design. We can also do custom-made designs featuring your local lodge or commemorating an event. These make a great gift for visitors, members, or for fundraising. Visit our website at MasonicScarves.com and click on the Shop Now button to see our full catalog. At checkout, use code PODCAST and you'll get $5 off per scarf. www.MasonicScarves.com.
Hey, this is Jay Laser from Effort Lodge 665 in Effort, Pennsylvania. Hey, I'm out here listening to your Masonic Light podcast. Pretty good. Like it. Keep it up.
We're back. And so we're going to debut a new segment here from our buddy Jason.
Masonic Light listeners, get ready for Masonic Would You Rather.
All right, so Masonic Would You Rather. I stole this from that game that my kids play. So, Jack, I've got 3 tough questions for you.
Uh-oh.
And you have to pick one option or the second option. So this one's easy. I'm going to warm you up with an easy one. Okay. Would you rather attend an open table lodge or open installation?
Open table lodge or open installation? Can I pick go to the dentist?
Perfect. All right, option 3. All right, here we go. Next one. Would you rather eat Eggs Benedict with Benedict Arnold every day or eat breakfast with Masons who forgot their hearing aids every day?
Well, I do that part on Thursday morning, so I think I don't really like Eggs Benedict though,
right? And
he's dead, so that would be kind of gross.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So Deaf Masons it is.
Right, Deaf Masons.
Yeah. Is that like deaf comedy? Is that
Deaf Mason jam? Yeah. It's actually really jam.
It's pudding. Oh.
It's been sitting out in a while. There's some skin on top.
All right, this one's going to get everybody. Would you rather attend an official visitation of the district deputy, opening the long way and holding a traditional ballot on candidates, or attend a 3-hour tall cedars initiation?
Oh, that's kind of the same, I think, isn't it?
They're long ones.
I've done the district deputy thing. I mean, I've actually been the guy. So yeah, no. Do I have to answer this question? All right.
I think our district deputy listens, so we have to wait.
Oh, well, then I definitely would want to have the district deputy there. And yes.
Yeah, we're looking into a future. We're looking to a past Grand Master. Actually, he's getting conned into coming on the show in a few weeks.
Nice.
Hopefully, he hasn't committed, but we're going to keep pressing. So,
but that's it.
All these tough questions.
That's. Would you rather?
I feel ashamed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a smattering of applause. Okay, so our next, what are we going to get into next, Jason? You've got the syllabus.
Is it news?
Is it news time?
I think it is.
All right, well, let's go into our Masonic news.
And now,
good news, everyone!
Masonic Light News. News not fit to print.
All right. So, from the desk of the past bastard in Altoona, PA, in an effort to appeal to the younger demographics, several lodges around Pennsylvania will be offering different types of stated communications. We got the idea from some local churches that offer different worship times. You know, classic services at 8, contemporary services at 10, stuff like that. So we decided that we would have a traditional communication at 6:30 for the older guys, and a more contemporary style communication at 7:30. You know, the casual dress, short form opening and closing, light music during the business portion. Now, this is in Altoona, so, you know, these guys are way ahead of the curve, apparently. Communications became so popular that Corinthian Lodge began offering a later communication aimed at the millennials. Yeah, the millennial communication was more for the 20 and 30-year-old guys who prefer the later hours. We don't read the minutes. We just broadcast it to their mobile devices. Also, the opening and closing are done big screen TV that we set up on the north wall. So, yeah, they're moving right along. What do you guys think?
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I mean, I guess sarcasm
kind of speechless. Yeah.
Yeah, sarcasm doesn't really transfer on the radio so well. But if you're not aware, the Past Bastard is a satire site, kind of like The Onion. But they usually hit stuff right on the head. They're spot on. So don't get your Masonic panties in an uproar.
God, I was going to move to Altoona. Yeah.
Have you been to Altoona?
I've been through there. That's where the toothbrush was invented, I think.
Well, would you?
If it was anywhere else, they would have called it a teeth brush,
Exactly, yeah.
What?
Oh, Jason's never heard that one before. Nice.
I'm going to dig out some more.
Well played.
Well, in Lexington, South Carolina, officers of the Grand Lodge of South Carolina are ecstatic about getting the results back from an unprecedented effort to survey the craft within the Grand jurisdiction, spurred on by recent wildly successful efforts by the Scottish Rite and Masonic podcasters to utilize surveys to ascertain the cause of membership decline. Most worshipful Joe Snow, Grand Master of the Grand Lodge, South Carolina, created his own...
Is he on Game of Thrones?
He might be, yeah.
Okay.
He died. They brought him back. But he created his own survey to poll the craft. We pressed further about the survey sample size and polling practices utilized to conduct the survey. Brother Howard explained, the Grand Master wanted to do this right, so he took a page out of the Gallup playbook, understanding that Gallup's nationwide political polls only capture 1 in 200,000 Americans. And given the Grand jurisdiction's total membership of a little over 35,000, he only needed a sample size of 1 to provide a representative crosscut of the Masonry in South Carolina. And the story continues on. But basically, he determined that there was nothing wrong with the craft.
Hear, hear.
And that's the news.
Wow, that was really exciting.
You want me to start doing it again?
Oh, no. I think I think when our producer gets done with it, it's going to sound a lot better.
Now, in real news, all right, so that was from the Past Bastard as well. But there are a couple cool things happening out there, speaking of podcasts, that we've mentioned a couple times. But there is the huge Masonic survey that's being offered up by some of the guys from the Masonic Roundtable. And they have Grand Masters that have taken it. They have high-ranking people down to brand new Masons, and just trying to get an overall survey across the board. And that you can find that survey at tinyurl.com/Masonic survey, and you have until St. John's Day next, which I believe is June 24th, to take that survey. It's okay. It's great. And also MasonicFinder.com is a new website that's been launched to have a national calendar of events. So it's only as good as the input going in. So if you want to put your lodge's activities on this site, somebody's traveling through your town, they can look it up and see what you got going on. So I encourage you to load it up. I had a bone to pick about that because they don't have Grotto as an option on there.
What?
I said that in the last, I guess it was 2 podcasts ago, but they have yet to put Grotto on there, but they'll get there.
I saw something about, Reddit is one of those like cesspools of the internet that you really can't go to. If you go too deep in there, you get mad and you leave. But there's a whole great subreddit for Freemasonry. And it's a really bizarre cross-section of nerds and haters and all kinds of stuff. But people were talking about, like, what bodies do you belong to? And a bunch of younger Masons were talking about, Grotto's making a resurgence. Grotto's doing this. And somebody accused some of us of having a coup and trying to, like, get our own person like installed into the Grand Line and to make it, fun again. I have to tell you that those rumors are 100% true. So just to confirm it. So we're going to try and make Grotto great again.
Well, we're leveraging the Illuminati as we do that, though. I understand.
I'll blow up their spot. I also heard, through the Masonic grapevine, somewhere there's a Grotto that's trying to become fun. A newer, younger Grotto that's trying to be fun, but like all the other grottos in their neck of the woods are old fuddy-duddies, and they like are not fans of the way that guys are actually having fun during a meeting. So that new fun lodge might be looking into joining our Colonial Grotto Association to associate with fellow degenerates.
Very nice. We'll be happy to have them.
Absolutely. Larry, what's anything else you got going on over there?
Well, yeah, one of the things I want to mention too is we love hearing from you. And in the past couple of weeks, we've gotten emails, we've gotten voice recordings. which I don't believe we'll be playing today, but we will insert for the next podcast. So, like I said, we love hearing from you. It's easy to get a hold of us. Email us at Masonic Light Podcast. That's Masonic Light Podcast at gmail.com. Or you can leave us a message by simply calling area code 315-596-2766. Now that's 315-59-MASON.
Wow, that actually worked.
And you make sure you check out our website.
And you may notice, I think Mason may have played some during the show. We asked online a bunch of people to kind of like record like a, we call it drop, like, hey, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so lodge and, whatever. You can call our voicemail and leave it there. The quality kind of sucks. But if you want, if you're not handicapable, or what, I don't know what I'm saying, but go on your cell phone and there's a voice recorder app and you can just record it and email it to us as an MP3 and it sounds a lot better. So give us a shout out to like what lodge you're hailing from and it'll sound pretty good. And I guess Larry's finally asking for a pee break.
Yes. Jeez.
Wow. He only took one Lasix this morning. All right. Well, we'll be back.
Today, more than ever, the fate of nations is led by a cabal of individuals and corporations. From the price of gas and basic necessities continually escalating, people are feeling like puppets with a chosen few pulling the strings. In other words, follow the money. In a fascinating work of historical fiction, The Red Serpent chronicles how the rich and powerful have prevailed through the centuries of history. 5,000 years after Sumerians buried the greatest wealth of knowledge the world has ever known, traces of it surface in the 20th century, along with omens and executions. The Vatican is in a frenzy to possess it. A secret society will stop at nothing to control it, and innocent people are doomed by obscure connections with it. In a bizarre quirk of fate, an obsessed French policeman, an alluring philology professor, an ex-Mossad rabbi, and a powerful Jewish family join forces to solve a triad of ancient puzzles. They must battle their way through Europe, outwit assassins, and dodge overwhelming foes. But how do they convince governments to aid them in their quest? What if they run out of time? And can they pull off the phenomenon that will change civilization forever? The Red Serpent by Larry Maris is available at Amazon, Amazon Kindle, and Barnes & Noble, plus fine bookstores everywhere.
This is Brother Jack Aquilina from the Brunswick United Lodge number 924 in Victoria, Australia. You are listening to the Masonic Light Podcast.
So we're back. It's Peter, Jerry, Larry Maris, Jason Lewis, and our guest Jack Harley. And now we're going to talk about a little bit what we have coming up in the next week or so. So, Jack, we'll let you go first. Anything coming up Masonically for you in the next couple weeks?
Conferring a first degree on Tuesday. It'll be my first degree in about 3 years. I've been doing a lot of third degrees, but I'm trying to get the Master Pillar Award.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't let Josh Palmer be the only guy in the district that gets the Master Builder Award or the Master Pillar Award. Yeah, for conferring each of the 3 degrees within a calendar year.
Okay. We should have him on the show. So he has a really not a good voice for radio. It'd be hilarious on here.
But he's knowledgeable. I mean,
he's a genius. Yeah, Freemason genius.
Yeah,
but I love when he talks. He's like, it's awesome.
And he's a skater dude.
And he's a high school teacher.
Yep.
He could tell us how he broke up a fight recently at his high school, and you're not allowed to.
My kid saw that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any knives?
You're not allowed to break up.
No,
a fight?
she took a picture though. So
wait, were you the one telling me that they're not allowed to break up, get in the middle of fights?
I don't know. I think that's Josh that said that they're not supposed to. So. Yeah,
because I guess you could, be touching.
We better not let ISIS know that, because they'll be all over those high school fights now.
Jason, what do you have coming up?
I will be in Nashville, so nothing Masonic, but I have a work trip coming up, so I'll be heading to the other state that isn't so friendly to everybody.
So your brother's guitars that you sell, do they work with country music?
We do have a couple classic models that do work with country, so that's the plan. We're taking some Telecasters down, so
okay,
away we go.
I wasn't sure. Do you have to like slow them down, or you have to like kind of dumb them down a little bit?
No, those guys, man, they play so blinding fast. That's like the one thing they got going for them.
They sound just like banjos, though.
Yeah, those guys just terrorize the Telecaster.
Nice. Larry, what do you have going on Masonically?
Next Wednesday, we have the Alum Owners Committee meeting.
The alimony?
It's like
for divorce
Alimony, or
masons?
whatever they call it.
Almoner.
Where thank God they serve beer and pizza. And that's pretty much it. You know, in Pennsylvania, we go dark for July.
No, we
and
do
August.
not. We call off from labor.
Oh.
Going dark means having your charter revoked.
Oh, really?
Yes.
South
Or
Carolina.
turning it in.
No, wait a minute.
Closing the
South
line.
Carolina going dark means
See,
you're
that's a
not gonna
Josh
be-
Palmer thing.
In South Carolina, it means
South
something
Carolina.
completely different after a long night of drinking.
Totally different.
Now. All right.
And I guess we'll have a grotto meeting. We're doing our next grotto meeting kind of like a rush party. That was kind of the idea. We're going to be at a farm, and we're going to just have fun outside and eat barbecue and drink beers and
Grotto silliness.
The guy's got a big farm, so we're going to do some target shooting on before we drink.
Those of you that are curious, Grotto is the sandbox of Freemasonry.
Yes, and we are the Tootsie Rolls in that sandbox. Oh, yes. So, Larry, we're going to come up with your wonderful closing segment. So what's going on?
Well, I just want to give thanks. Basically, every podcast we do, we give thanks to the people who went out of their way to make the show great. Our guest, Jack Harley. Our no nose director, Jason Lewis.
No nose.
Hey, Larry, can you please attach the microphone to your mouth? When you look at Jack, you're on a 90-degree angle from the microphone. You look at me, you're on a 45-degree angle. Just keep your mouth up against it and move your eyes.
Well, special thanks to our producer and the Lancaster Podcast Studios, which do a tremendous job. And they help us out of a lot of really lousy-ass situations that we get into when we record this, thank goodness. Also, to our director,
It's
our
rambling.
director, Rocco Ruggieri, basically, who is recovering from a hangover. And
My dogs did not drink last night.
No.
I
We
bet
did.
they did.
The three of us did.
They didn't have to. Also, to our new news director, Jason Lewis, welcome.
Thank you.
And
I've never been here before.
we've had we've moved some people around.
Who did we move?
Our former news director, Ima Blather, is now a foreign correspondent along with Nada Worthy. So they'll be phoning things into Jason over the next few months. And again, one thing I want to finally want to tell. What I finally want to do
What was that? Was that like 20 words?
That was car talk. That was
That was word salad.
Well, basically, to close up the show, I want to thank the good folks who keep us out of trouble and probably out of jail. The law firm of Swindler, Steele, and Corrupt, a law firm which incidentally just opened a branch office in Washington, D.C. And that's our show, folks. So I'm Larry Merritt.
You're not going to thank Tom, who you're stealing all your material from?
No, he's gone. No,
Tom and Ray.
no, that's gone. That's over. It's done.
Okay, so now he's been...
Click these.
The car talk guys have been dead long enough that you can
Click
steal
and
their...
clack and
No,
clunk.
I didn't steal it. Okay. Anyway, hey, it's time to end this show.
The good news is we don't make any money, so nobody can sue us.
True. This is Larry Maris.
Pete Ruggieri.
Jason Lewis and our special guest.
Jack Harley.
Have a good day, and thanks for listening.